Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football this weekend. As you can see, Patrick van Straten is sat to my right and there's a drill in the background. Welcome, Mr. Drill. Apologies for any terrible sounds you hear during this. There's nothing we can do. Anyway, kicking us off, I'm a happy bunny. Manchester United fans are a happy bunny. We've won a trophy this season, Pato. Tell us about the game.
Yeah, Man United beat a very impressive Southampton side 3-2 in the EFL Cup Final. And to be honest with you, they did not deserve this win at all. Saints were incredibly good. They had more possession, they had more shots. They lined up in this kind of 4-4-2, very Simeone-style 4-4-2, and really pressed United, and United had no answer to it in the first half.
True.
In the second half, Mourinho made the wise move to take off Juan Mata and bring on Carrick to beef up the midfield a bit. And that did help, but there's one guy I want to talk about, and that's Manolo Gabbiadini.
Yes.
He should have opened the scoring early on, but he had a perfectly legal goal disallowed for offside. I feel for the guy. But he went on to score 2 goals as Saints came back from a 2-0 deficit to level it up going into the final half hour. Gabbiadini now has 5 goals in 3 games. He's got back-to-back braces. Unfortunately for the Saints, he was tiring late in this game and he came off for Shane Long in the 80th minute, which I suppose you could argue was a turning point. Before that, as you've said to me, he had very, very good hold-up play and United's centre-backs were struggling to deal with him. But anyway, this is about Man United. They overtook Liverpool with this trophy as England's most successful club ever. And they've actually won all 3 of the last 3 domestic trophies available. That's the EFL Cup, the FA Cup, and the Community Shield, which sort of counts. Well done, Man United.
Yeah, well, like you said, Pato, not our best day at the office. And I think Jose will be happy to have a trophy under his belt, but overall, I think he might be slightly concerned. We're extremely reliant on Zlatan Ibrahimovic, obviously the only Manchester United player in double figures of goals this season. And without him, we don't look great. Remember when Manchester United went on a very poor run just before Christmas and we drew a lot of games? Those were the games when Zlatan wasn't scoring. That correlation worries me extremely. We've got to find someone in the summer who is going to score goals for us. And at the back, we were terrible. Marcos Rojo at left back, what an absolute abomination. I mean, how is he keeping Luke Shaw out of the team? I don't know what Luke Shaw's done in training, but it must be disgusting. Anyway, Jose Mourinho yesterday, here's a stat I couldn't believe, became the first manager in Manchester United history, yes, history, to win a trophy in his first season with the club. A major trophy, that is.
Wow.
Not the Community Shield, David Moyes. It doesn't count. He's also prolific in cup finals, I think it's fair to say. He's won 11 of his 12 major cup finals. So you know what you're going to get with Jose. He is going to win trophies, 24 in 17 years. And Zlatan, his partner in crime, has 32 in 17 years. The guy is so prolific, a brilliant header. He was fantastic on the day, probably Manchester United's only decent player.
He was great. He was great, though. Brilliant header. I think might be pushing it a little bit, mate.
Well,
4 yards out.
Yeah,
and it's an unbelievable ball from
unbelievable ball by Zlatan, by Ander Herrera, like you said. But on the day, 2 goals, 2 key passes, 3 aerial duels won, 5 shots with a 40% conversion rate. Not too bad for a 36-year-old in the twilight of his career. Thank fuck for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but Southampton, I have to take my hat off to you. You were better than us on the day.
Our first losers of the week are Leicester. They made a decision last week which some people would say is unforgivable.
Yes, they sacked Claudio Ranieri, the man who made them dream, the man they were painting murals of on the sides of stadiums, gone just 9 months later. This is a man who was given a vote of confidence by the board just 2 weeks ago. Got a 2-1 loss, a good result away in Sevilla. Wasn't in the relegation zone at the time of sacking. That squad is so average. Robert Huth, Wes Morgan, Simpson, Drinkwater, all below par players. How can 4 senior members of the squad go to the owners and demand a sacking? It's beyond me. Completely overachieved last season, and I think if you went to Leicester fans and said, look, we'll give you 1 Premier League title and 15 years in the Championship, they would take the Premier League title every single day of the week. Liverpool up next. I actually hope they get relegated now. I'm saying it now. I hope they get relegated.
I think they've turned everyone against them, haven't they?
Fuck them.
It's hard to argue with. I mean, Claudio Ranieri is a university-like manager, isn't he? He seems like a nice guy, and he took them to a title. If he'd been sacked if this was last season, right, and he hadn't won the title, we'd say it was a little bit harsh.
Yes.
And this is happening 9 months after he's delivered them major silverware.
Ridiculous.
It's absolutely insane. On the other hand, they have been very, very poor this season. I think that it's a little bit too easy to say that it's just N'Golo Kante, but N'Golo Kante has gone to Chelsea, and you can see that hole in the Leicester squad. They brought in Mendy to fill that gap. He's been injured most of the season. They've now brought in Ndidi, who isn't a similar sort of player to Kante, much more of an out-and-out box-to-box midfielder. However, they have won 114 fewer tackles and made 188 fewer interceptions by this point of the season relative to last. They've taken 0.23 points per away game this season. Last year, that was 2 points per away game. 2.21 points they were taking per home game. This season, that's down to 1.5. Now, partially, there is a luck element here. This is kind of Gary Monk syndrome, right? Okay. So Gary Monk really overachieved with Swansea one season. The next season, Swansea kind of went back to what you'd expect from them, and he got sacked because expectations were too high. Leicester last season, everything they hit went in. Now, partially, that's quality, but partially, there's an element of luck. Last season, their conversion rate was the best in the league. 18.6% of their shots went in. Bear in mind, league average is 15.8%. This season, they're down at 12.7%. So they've had a 6% swing. They've gone from way above the rest of the league to way below. But like we say, Liverpool are up next. What are your predictions for that game? Do you think Leicester can turn it on now they're back on Sky Sports on a Monday night? Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Our next winners, oh my word, 8-0 Bayern Munich. What's gone on there, Pato?
Well, Lewandowski got a hattie, and everybody else seemed to get on the team sheet as well. Carlo Ancelotti, it was his 1,000th competitive game in charge, and he got his biggest win at Bayern so far. Bayern are now 5 points clear at the top, above RB Leipzig in second place, and Lewandowski is back at the top of the Bundesliga scoring charts. He's now got 19 for the season. Bayern had 18 shots, they had 71% possession, 90% pass success. Coman came on in the 60th minute and got 2 goals. That's how much of a rout this game was. Arjen Robben was perhaps the star player, except for Lewandowski. He completed 5 dribbles, had 4 shots, 92% pass success, got a goal, got an assist. Who scored gave him 10 out of 10, but you can ignore that, that's stupid. But anyway, what an incredible team performance, an absolute battering. And Hamburg at this point, they must be used to getting their asses handed to them.
Oh my God. I think it's fair to say no team travels as badly to the Allianz Arena as Hamburg does. In their past 7 visits there, they've been battered every single time. They've conceded 44 goals in 7 games at the Allianz. Let me read off the last 7 results there. 6-0, 5-0, 9-2, 3-1, which is a positive, 8-0, 5-0, 8-0. At this stage, it's getting humiliating. In the game, they had 5 shots. They had just 28% of the ball. 28%. And this is a Carlo Ancelotti team that hasn't been built on possession. 20 tackles they won as well, Hamburg. Shows how much they were under the cosh. I mean, this genuinely could have been double figures. It genuinely could have been double figures if Adler hadn't been on form. 4 saves he made, shipped 8 goals. It could have been 12 or 13. There was some unbelievable chances missed. Carlo Ancelotti is going to be a happy boy, and I worry for Arsenal. I really do worry for Arsenal.
You should always worry for Arsenal. We're horrible. Our defence is garbage. Come on, beat us 12-0. I'd fucking love it at this point. I don't even care. No, it wouldn't. It'd be horrible. It's sad. Our second losers come from Italy, and it's Napoli, who lost 2-0 to Atalanta.
Yeah, they will not be happy bunnies. They're now 5 points behind Roma, who of course got a great result in Milan against Internazionale last night. And it means that their 14 league game unbeaten streak, which started all the way back at the beginning of November, has finally come to an end. Atalanta on the day was slightly fortunate maybe though. Napoli had 20 shots, 66% possession, 84% pass success. So not too bad. Insigne though, really summing up the Naples side performance. He hit the post, attempted 7 dribbles and didn't complete a single one. Not particularly good day for him. Jose Mourinho as well had scouts in the stadium, apparently there to watch Hysaj and Zielinski, neither of which had a good day. Hysaj was subbed off after 79 minutes and Zielinski was only able to get 1 shot on target. But for Atalanta, they are having a great season, Pato.
Yes, they are. They've got 51 points now. They're 3 points behind Napoli, and they're 1 point ahead of Lazio. So high-flying this season. Yeah. They're unbeaten in 6 games. They've won their last 4. That's a winning streak only bettered by Juventus. And in this game, they knew exactly what their plan was. They had 34% possession, but they hit on the break. They understood.
True.
They had 16 tackles. They won 11 aerial duels. And Mattia Caldara, who was the man of the match, 22-year-old defender, got both goals in this game. He made 3 tackles, won 2 aerial duels, had 3 shots as a centre-back.
Very impressive.
But there are a few guys who've had really great seasons for Atalanta, and we haven't been able to talk about them because guess what? Atalanta don't show up on winners and losers. I'd like to talk about Alejandro Gomez, who's got 9 goals and 5 assists in the league in about 2,200 league minutes. That's pretty impressive. And also Petagna. Petagna is a 21-year-old forward, okay? He's over 6 foot tall. He's reasonably quick. He's got 5 goals and 5 assists in about 1,700 minutes in the league. He also completes 2.5 dribbles a game. Those are kind of Alexis Sanchez numbers. This is as a centre forward. He's got an 84% pass accuracy. For a centre forward, that's incredibly high. How are they going to keep hold of this guy? It's so good. And also Berisha. Berisha was very, very good as well. He made 8 saves, and that's what kept Atalanta their clean sheet in this match. Franck Kessié, who's of course their kind of star at the moment, he's the one rumoured to be going off to Man City or Chelsea or whoever in the summer. He did get sent off in this match, and he was the third guy actually that Mourinho apparently instructed his scouts to have a look at. So maybe they'll come back with a bad report on him and he can stay there for another season. But they're flying high, Atalanta. This is despite losing Gagliardini to Inter Milan in January. I'm really excited about them and I hope they can hold on till the end of the season. What a campaign.
Our final winners of the day before we go to your shout-outs are Tottenham Hotspur, and one man in particular, it's the Harry Kane Hurricane.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to talk a little bit about him in a minute, but let's talk about Spurs to start with. 4-0, they beat Stoke City at White Hart Lane, and it was vital they bounced back. They had a terrible 2-2 draw with Ghent in midweek. They didn't expect to go out of the Europa League, but now they are out. They might perhaps be a little bit happy about that. It means Dele Alli won't see out that ban unless they get into the Champions League or Europa League next season. And he scored in this game to add to Harry Kane's hat-trick. He needed it. His tackle in midweek is an absolute abomination.
Absolutely disgraceful.
But look, they lined up with 3 at the back. They had Walker and Davis as wing-backs. And actually, this is probably the first game where Ben Davis has really looked good. They stretched Stoke. Stoke had no answer to it. There was so much space for Christian Eriksen, and he got his 10th assist of the season. He now leads the Premier League in the creative charts. Very, very impressive performance. Spurs just keep rolling on.
They do, and one man keeps rolling on with them. It's Harry Kane, of course, in this game. 2 chances created, 1 assist as well, 6 shots, 3 goals.
Oh my God.
12 goals in his last 11 games in 2017. And he's already got 22 goals in all competitions this season. And that includes 3 hat-tricks in his last 9 starts for Tottenham Hotspur. Ticked over the 100-goal mark this weekend as well. 102 goals in just 218 matches. He's still just 23. 86 of those goals have come from for Tottenham Hotspur. He's on fire. Nobody seems to be able to stop him. He's scored 20-plus goals in his last 3 consecutive seasons. What I want to know, though, it's a serious question. Is he the best striker in the Premier League right now? Him versus Zlatan, maybe Aguero in there as well. Costa is a real close affair. You can vote in the poll just above my head right now.
Our final losers, Valencia, who lost yet again.
Not for the first time they've been in our losers section. This is the side with the worst board in football, of course. Won midweek against Real Madrid, a fantastic result, a screamer from the bald man that is Simone Zaza, but then dearie me, away at Alaves, slumped to a very, very disappointing 2-1 away defeat. This is an Alaves side as well that are far, far more successful on the road. They're 6th in the away league table, 14th at home. They're terrible in front of their own crowd, and it marks just their 3rd win of the season at home. And to make matters worse, Valencia went 1-0 up in the 70th minute, didn't they? And then it all fell apart, Pato. It all went wrong. Alaves turned it round. And no team in La Liga has surrendered a lead more times than Valencia this season, 6. It's all gone wrong. To do that 6 times is criminal.
Yeah, they're now 7 points behind Alaves in 13th.
Yeah.
The home side, I mean, they deserved this win. They outshot Valencia 13-5. They completed 3 times as many dribbles. They won twice as many headers. So they were just dominant all over the pitch. Gomez was probably the standout performer. It was a very cagey match, but he's a 27-year-old. He's got 3 dribbles, 3 tackles, and 3 shots in this game. Basically did everything you could possibly want from a player.
Yeah.
Valencia, I mean, they look a little bit less like they're going to get relegated now than they did, say, a month or two ago. but my God, it's uninspiring stuff at the Mestalla, and they need to pick it up soon because they are a big club, and it's just fucking demoralising at this point.
It's time for some shout-outs now, and you guys have been sending in your suggestions all weekend on Twitter. If you want to get involved next week, hit me and Pato up on these two handles. The first one in the winners category comes from Lazurk. He says Borussia Dortmund on a great run of form at the moment. Very, very true. Second one comes from John. Portsmouth he's gone for. It's an unusual shout. Don't hear their name on winners and losers very often. They're the first team to keep a clean sheet away at Carlisle this season. Beat Carlisle 3-0, so a fantastic result down there. And Esteban has our final winner, with Real Madrid, of course, producing that crazy comeback yesterday. Pato, give us the losers.
In the losers, we've got Leverkusen. That comes courtesy of Mark. If you want to hear a little bit about their loss to Mainz, head over to the Euro Roundup on Euro Football Daily. JMZ says, Moyes, the man is clueless. Hard to argue with that, given their form at the moment. And Man United news, don't think that's an official channel. They said RZ Alkmaar, who of course lost 11-2 to Lyon on aggregate in the Europa League. However, still doing okay in the Eredivisie. So check your facts, Man United news, you knob.
So that's all we've got time for on today's winners and losers. But before you do anything else, make sure you head over to EFD, who on today's Euro Roundup will be featuring
Roma versus Inter, and of course Barcelona against Atletico Madrid.
Yes, indeed. And as ever, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. Sayonara.
Bye.
Bye.